house that is haunted. Right from the start, dear, built on an acre of sand.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Zeta.
And I'm Kelly, and you're listening to
Two Sides and the Truth. Welcome back, everybody. What? We got a lot to talk about today.
Oh my gosh, so much.
And we're a little behind on this because I've been so busy.
I'm already tired. So it's like, I know that talking about it's going to make me even more tired because I haven't even recovered from the weekend.
It was the longest one-day weekend, one night away weekend ever. We did
and
a
by
lot.
the side of our luggage, you would not have thought it was just an overnighter.
No. You would not. So we're going to talk about our weekend because that's where we're starting. Yeah. No, we're talking about girls' night first.
Oh yeah, because that happened first.
Let's do girls' night first. Kelly's updating us on her girls' night.
Girls' night. Well, obviously, we hadn't got to have a girls' night in like 2 weeks because we had Snowmageddon and all that kind of stuff or whatever. But we all went out to girls' night. We went to Rocket, and we had a pretty good time. And it feels good because everybody's good. Everything has blown over from our little. I will call it a tiff, I guess.
Yeah.
Really, I call it a bonding experience.
I find it to be a friendship grower.
It sure is. And
it is. You just leveled up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sunday just leveled up into the group.
I just picture her doing the little Mario like, he's got a mushroom.
That's so accurate. That's funny.
So yeah, it was a good night, but it was so funny because we had kind of a repeat of the Big Al's incident where the gentleman came over to the table and just like
wouldn't leave
and put their food down at our table, just assumed like
they're welcome at the table.
They were just not the most respectful, and they just don't have really good, being out people skills.
People qualities.
You know what I mean? They were just lacking in that area. But that happens, sometimes I get it.
Yeah.
But this time it was just their beers. They came over. There was a group of guys that were playing pool when we got there.
Yeah.
We sat in our usual spot right there by the stage, our little area. And they were making eyes at us the whole time. They didn't. We didn't.
Just so I can have a mental picture. How old are these guys?
Oh, I don't know. They ranged. There were some younger ones, some older ones.
Yeah, it's a barrage of men.
It really is, and it's all a blur to me because I just when I go out, I don't even put my glasses on. Like I don't.
So you have no clue even what they look like.
Or contacts. I'm not focused on what is the outer thing. I just try to focus on my girlfriends. That's kind of like blinders, I guess you could say.
What a good idea.
But I notice when people notice me though. So I do a lot of noticing that.
You're a woman. You have to be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, I have a little bit of PTSD, so watch out.
You don't say. I think everybody knows that's been listening.
I know, right?
A little bit.
So anyways, we're in our spot. We're in our safe zone, and it only takes one. It takes one person to get up the balls to come over and say something to somebody in the group, and then it's like they broke the dam. It's like all's fair game. And so of course one person comes over, and it was because they helped build the fence that Marilee and Robert have around their house. This metal, it's this metal, fence that's all around the back.
So they recognized
knew Marilee. So they came up to Marilee and were like, "Hey!" And then it was over from there. Every single guy that was at that pool table came over, almost at the same time. And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I stood up from my chair
and left.
Like I was like, "Whoa! This is getting too much for me." I was like, I backed out. And so, oh my gosh! And then
I lost you.
Yeah, and. Oh, you did? It's okay.
Yeah, good now.
And so then, but I was happy. It was so funny because Terry likes to come out there whenever for karaoke because he likes to hear me sing. He likes to hang out with the girls. And Marilee and Sunday love.
Everybody loves Terry.
Everybody loves Terry. So he knows that I don't care who comes to girls' night. Sometimes Marilee's husband comes to girls' nights. It's not just about the girls, but it's about us girls getting together and hanging out.
Yeah.
And we do karaoke.
Then you can bring a straggler.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. We make friends everywhere we go. Everybody's invited to girls' night, but don't tell anybody. It's kind of like Fight Club.
Yeah. Fair. There might be a fight.
There might be. Okay. Yeah. But the thing was, anyways, so we finally kind of get the situation deflated a little bit, but they're kind of like, okay, y'all go back over, okay, whatever. But we couldn't do it. And they ended up putting their beers down because at where we were at,
they were trying to mark their territory.
Yeah. And it was so funny because me and Sunday look at each other and she's like, And she's just like, no, we're not having this again. So she gets their beers and she puts them back like over.
She moved their
on
beers.
the other end of the bar or whatever, like way down for us. And I was like,
I
yeah.
got a delivery. It worked.
How
Come
sweet.
in. You just have to drop it off. You don't have to talk. All right. Sorry, y'all. I had to get a special delivery. We're not going to talk.
We
to
all
the-
know who the favorite friend is now.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Go ahead.
I like that hat.
Yeah.
I like that shirt too.
Not everybody has special deliveries. I sent out a group text to our friends that come in here, and I was like, hey, I don't know if anybody's here, but if anybody is, will you bring me a whiskey and Coke? It's been a long day. And I told Kelly right before I started, we don't know who it's going to be.
We'll
but
see.
If
We'll anyone's
here, and then we got it.
You get 2 points. You know who you are.
Yeah. Good job.
We don't play favorites though. But
Yeah, no, but yeah, the winner chicken dinner. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, girls' weekend.
yeah. So, but I had told Terry that, since we hadn't had girls' night in, a couple of weeks, that we were just going to keep it the girls. No, like Mary Lee wasn't going to bring Robert. Nobody was coming. Like,
We were going girl.
yeah. And he was like, oh, totally fine. Cause he just said, if you don't want me to come, if y'all just want some girls' time, I understand that. So just, I won't come out there. And I was like, okay, but they love him going out there. So I told him that. And then when we all got together at Marilee's house before we went out to Rocket. And so I was telling them, oh, hey guys, it's just going to be us tonight. Like, make sure no guys are coming. So I told Terry, it was just the girls. And they both turned and looked at me at the same time with this like gasped look on their face. They're like, what? You did what? I was like, I was just thinking, just us girls. And they're like, no. And I was like, okay. So
You had to call Terry back.
I was like, no, we're going to do fine. No, I didn't say anything. I was like, I was like, whatever. But they were like, it's fine. Yeah, whatever. They finally got over it. But I was like, sorry. If I
Sorry
would
to let y'all
have,
down.
apparently they like him more than me. I was like, hey, I started girls' night.
I mean, he's pretty amazing.
I know. I get it.
Yeah.
And so, but when that happened, after she was moving those guys' drinks from freaking sitting them down at our table,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm texting Terry. So,
And he came up.
yes.
I love
And it was
Terry.
so funny because once again, all he had to do is just stand there. He
Yeah.
just walked in, smiled, said hi to everybody, and just stood there.
I
and
love
they
Terry.
slowly inched away.
Can you imagine Terry in his 20s? How intimidating
Oh my
he
gosh.
was.
No, I can't.
No, it's awesome. I love him so much. Be like Terry, guys.
Right? Take notes. I hope
Yeah.
you are.
I'm glad y'all had a good time, though.
Yeah, it was.
You got
good.
rid of him.
It was
Terry took care of the situation.
Yeah, and then,
Bodyguard.
And I was like, we would have had it, Terry. I mean, at some point, Marilee's gonna tase you. I'm gonna stab you, and Sunday's gonna bite you. So you're just we could take care of our own.
Yeah.
I was like,
Sunday
unless-
might shoot you. She's there with
yeah,
me.
She would. She
Yeah.
totally would.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, unless you're into that kind of thing. I was like,
Maybe.
man. And then we're gonna have a mile right down the road. People are like, yeah.
That is funny. Well, so that was Thursday night.
Yeah.
Right. So then, so we left. Oh, well, then Friday night you did a birthday party. And then we left Saturday morning for our weekend, which was a late start. So you would think that it would be not a lot to talk about, but you'd be wrong because we did the wedding on Saturday and we did I'm not going to call it a funeral. It was a celebration of life on Sunday. So we had two ends of the spectrum. Emotional for me. Sunday more so than Saturday. Saturday was just fun.
Yes, a lot.
Yes. So
I'm still sore.
yeah. Well, Kelly danced for probably 3 hours.
Yeah.
I think 3 hours.
It had to be.
It had to have
Probably
been.
more. I
Yeah.
don't
Well,
know.
we got there at 3. The wedding started at 4. The ceremony was over by like 4:40 because it started a little bit late. That part's quick. And then you started dancing within 30 minutes of that, maybe 40 tops.
As soon as they started letting us, like it was right because you have to let the bride and the
Groom and
groom dance, and then the parents dance. Like they do their thing. And I was itching. I was like,
Yeah.
as soon as that DJ starts,
it's on. Well, so Kelly got to finally meet my family. Now she knows my kids. She's met one of my sisters. She's met my dad. She's met my local family, I guess is the best way to put them. They're not all local, but she hadn't met the family from San Saba other than my sister-in-law, right? Am I missing? And my sister-in-law's kids.
yeah,
That's all
And
you.
I'd met one of your sisters, but
Yeah, but that's not a San Saba sister.
Yeah.
That's I got parents with different
Yeah.
kids, and you knew my brother. And anyways, so she got to finally meet the family, And when I say meet the family, I mean, there was probably 250 of us there that were immediate family. I'm not sure how many you actually met.
I met a lot. And it all became a blur at some point.
So what was your impression? What were you surprised by the most that you can say on air? And
we're going to get there.
they're a little wild, y'all.
Okay. I can't say that I was surprised because honestly, like I told you, I knew it was going to happen at some point, that I was going to, like, someone was going to take interest and want to take me home with them. But I'm not speaking that like as a negative against your family, because it doesn't really surprise me, because that usually happens in most cases. And it really doesn't matter whose family I'm meeting or if I'm just going out for the night. Usually at some point, if people who don't already know me and know, oh, she's taken, like if it's a new person, they're going to have interest. And so I'm like, let's just shut that down real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did at one point in the
I would
night.
like to add, I did not see this coming.
Oh, you didn't?
I did see it coming. Like, I thought it was going to be someone else. And then they showed up with a date. And then I was like, well, it's not going to be that person. They showed up with a date.
So you already had like red flags in your head?
Well, I only have so many single people in my family. My family does tend to get married and stay married, oddly enough. Sounds weird coming from me and my mother's history. But my mom was kind of like the only one like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like my grandmother married and divorced my grandfather a few times, but they'd remarry. Like they just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we don't have so there's a lot of married people there is what I'm saying.
I know. Well, what I'm saying is that usually doesn't matter.
It did not in this particular incident.
I gauge things that way too. I was raised very, what's the word?
Traditional.
Yes. But I was very naive for a very long period of my life.
Right.
And that's where that comes in, because you think that when you're in a situation where you're in a room or you're meeting people who are married and worrying about who you have to worry about or who's available and this or that or the other. I was very naive for a long time, thinking that marriage was a safeguard. Or being in a relationship with somebody was a safeguard. Oh, I don't have to worry about that person.
Right.
But I have only really encountered the exact opposite. Like
Yes.
either one or the other is still interested, even though they're in a committed relationship.
So
or they say they are.
Are you comfortable telling the story without naming names?
Oh, of course.
I'm comfortable with it because I feel like if they're going to behave that way, and I might add, they're not related to me. It's somebody almost married into the family. They're not in the family.
Yeah, they just got ties somewhere.
I was real
They're not-
surprised they were at the wedding, quite honestly. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just I didn't realize they knew my family that well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're not related to me, and put that up there. We're not going to name names. Please tell the story.
Well,
Please, y'all
No.
get ready. But sit down. If your kids are in the car, ask them to get out.
it's really. Well, I mean, if you want the real version of it, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I want you to tell the real
But
version.
this is a really good example of just things that people have to deal with. Girls have to deal with. I'm not saying that it's just a girl problem. It's just the reality of the
It
situation.
happens to you a lot more than
And-
it's ever happened to me. I'm going to put that out there.
It's
happened to me, but not like this.
I've noticed that the amount that it happens to me is inflated from most people, and that's just because I'm open and I do talk to people about the negative things that, well, I consider it negative because it does affect me. I don't like it when people touch me. I don't like it when people come after me, because I've always have people wanting to touch me.
That is so true.
And sometimes it's just in very platonic ways or interested ways. I have a lot of art all over my body. I understand the allure that it has. Even from just little kids, they're like, ooh, let me see. I get it.
See, I kind of think they see all your art and they see that and they think that you probably are very, you're very open to things
Yes.
because you have that.
Yeah. And it wasn't till I was too far in that I realized that I was doing that to myself. For a person who does not like attention and doesn't want to entice people really in any way, I do a lot of things that are contrary to that.
Yeah,
and
you do.
I decorate myself. I put.
You're right.
I dress my body really nice. I take pride in myself. I make myself. I like looking nice. But the thing is, I just want to be an art piece. I just want you to look and not touch.
You're like, it's like the Smithsonian. You can
Yeah,
look at the
that's what I'm
paintings, but you're
saying.
not allowed to touch them.
And so it is a really good, I use it as a tool now because I do work with kids, and I only ever want to like improve a situation that I go into. And I like to teach people how to just be respectful. And so I'll let them know, hey, you know, it's totally fine if you want to look at the art. It's totally fine if you want to even touch it, but you cannot do that firsthand. You have to get somebody's permission first. You have to make sure that you're respecting people's boundaries. That's how you're going to be able to develop the best kind of relationship or friendship or anything with anybody. You got to respect them first. And so that starts with respecting their boundaries and everything like that. So, okay, we just got off into like
we went down a rabbit hole. We're back.
That's
Okay,
important,
so we're
guys.
at the wedding.
It's
and-
important, guys.
So, I'll preface where we are at this point at the wedding. We get to the wedding, we show up. I introduce her to a ton of people. I'm like, this is my best friend. This is my best friend. This is my
Lots
best
of
friend.
amazing people. Oh my gosh. I had such a good time.
Yeah, well, and it was a dressy wedding. So like we pull up and everybody's got like fur coats on.
Everybody was dressed to the nines, man. They
Yes.
looked phenomenal.
Yeah, they were. I mean, they're a pretty bunch. I might be a little biased.
Oh my gosh. I didn't meet an unattractive person.
It's weird.
There's
sometimes.
not a single unattractive person in that family.
They're pretty attractive people. And as I told Kelly, just to give you a mental image, I'm the only one that's thick. I'm just putting this. Am I wrong?
No, you're. Actually, you are. I mean,
Out of like 200 cousins, I'm the only one. And then I'm not.
you're the only one that was getting the jambalaya.
Well, let me tell you something. I don't feel negative about that. So I want to put that out there. Yes, I am thicker than them. I have a different father than they do. And my father is a big man, and I take after my father. I love my body. So I'm not meaning this in a negative way. And I always want to make sure that's clear. Just because I acknowledge the fact that I'm thick doesn't mean I have a problem with the fact that I'm thick.
Preach it.
So, but it is very clear when you're around my family, particularly at reunions, because first off, we usually have naked. We are in bathing suits because we camp and go to the river.
Yeah.
So
it's a water baby.
Yeah. And so it's just one of those things where I had to become comfortable. It built my self-esteem to be around my family at reunions and understand that this is the body I've been given and this is what I'm going to have to rock, and I will rock it. And so, yes, they look amazing. It's intimidating sometimes. They look amazing, but I'm not intimidated. Like, well, I don't think I look amazing because I feel amazing. Regardless, you get the idea. They're in fur coats. They're in evening gowns. The men look amazing. They're in their, it's, imagine like, a wedding on the show Dallas, which some of y'all are too young for maybe, but like the show Dallas with J.R. Ewing, and they would have the cowboy hats. The men would be in like tuxedos, but with a cowboy hat or something like that. And the women would be in fur coats and everything. This is what we're dealing with.
Yep.
So we get there. The wedding happens. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. We move into the reception hall, and they do the first dance and blah, blah, blah. Now Kelly starts dancing. At this point, the couple that we're going to discuss, whom I know, the female has approached me. The male's never spoken to me.
Oh, really?
Never. I've never spoken to him.
He didn't speak to me either.
I don't feel like he wants to talk to me, and that's great. So
I think that he's intimidated by women.
I hope so. So the female is very nice. I like her a lot. She's a very nice person. I think it was an off night, hopefully. So she approaches me and wants to meet Kelly. So I introduce her to Kelly. They have matching dresses on. Like, they're very similar.
They have the same material. Hers was just a longer cut.
Same color, very similar cut.
Yes.
Yeah, but not the same
Hers
cut.
just came down longer on her legs.
Right. And so she zoned in on that. And I had on velvet too, so we all kind of coordinated.
We looked awesome all together, man.
We did. And so she beadlined for Kelly. And Kelly's such a great friend and such a great, like, friend to take places because I don't have to babysit Kelly. Kelly finds something to do and she entertains herself. And when she wants me, she finds me. She's like, I'm checking in, or I need this, or do you need that? Let's go. Let's meet over here. Let's not. I'll be back dancing. You know what I mean?
I'll meet you in the back in 20 minutes.
I
all right?
can't tell you how many family members of all ages were like, we love Kelly, and I love how you haven't even talked to her in like an hour and she doesn't care. She's over there living her best life. Cannot tell you how many people said that, which is,
that's
you know.
awesome.
Anyways, so now this is the point we're at. Kelly's dancing. I'm visiting with family. Cue Kelly. Tell the story.
Well, I was taking a break from dancing because it was an awesome just crowd. Everybody was out on the dance floor and everybody was dancing. Okay. And some people partnered up because they played a variety of things. They had some country music so you could country dance, but he played a lot of like club music. hip hop music, dance music, line music. Like it was just a really good
he was a good
club
DJ.
atmosphere. Like it was awesome, and everybody was out on that dance.
My
floor.
family was getting down.
Yeah, it
I've
wasn't
never seen
just-
so many
yeah.
white people dance at the same time.
I know, and actually kind of well, or maybe I'd just been drinking a lot. I had started on that.
Some were better
champagne.
than others.
I started
Some were better than
on
others.
that champagne pretty early, so
Yeah.
everybody looked like a phenomenal dancer. To
They
me.
had an open bar and it never ran out of alcohol.
Sure didn't.
Which is shocking. I've never been to a wedding that didn't run out of alcohol. And considering my family are professional drinkers,
Oh, they did a good job
it's insane.
because they weren't skimping either.
No. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
They
Continue.
just assumed you wanted to double anything.
Yeah, they were
They did
awesome.
not.
It was a great night. Continue.
So I needed a drink, obviously, because I was out on the dance floor, doing it. And so I was like, oh, I'm parched. So I went in to get a drink, and she was standing by the bar, and she had a coat on already. And I didn't know if she was going outside or leaving or what, I was just like, hey, and so I was going back out on the dance floor though, because I would just stop to get a drink and I was going back out because he started playing another awesome song. So I was like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So I was like, come dance. And she was like, okay. So because there was a lot of people that stood and watched as well. It was a good show, but man, there was a lot of people out there.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I'd say
you didn't
half the
feel-
crowd was dancing at
I
all
was
times.
getting the grandma, what's her name?
Linda.
Linda, oh my gosh, look at Linda.
Linda will break down.
I freaking love you, Linda. Oh my gosh, she was my favorite, absolute favorite, because she just came right out there and we danced together, because everybody was just shaking it with everybody. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like people partner up, but it was just a big mosh pit of dancers. It was amazing.
Linda's awesome.
And she was right out there the whole time. Girl, man, it was awesome. I even had to bring her a drink one time because I was like, I'm going to get a drink. You want me to bring you?
We had a good time with Linda.
It was great.
Yeah.
So I pulled her out there with us to come dance because I'm always encouraging. I want everybody to have the best time with me. You know what I mean? Whatever you want to do. So she comes out and she's dancing. She's having a good time. Well, that goes on for a long time. And I move around the dance floor. I didn't just stay in one place. And so, but I noticed that she was following me around, which I don't mind, but I wasn't dancing necessarily with her, but she wanted to dance with me. And that's fine. I'll
Right.
dance with girls. I like dancing with anybody, really. If you ask me nicely.
And girls as friends, we dance together.
I was dancing with everybody. But I'm respectful though. You know what I mean? I don't want anybody
Touching,
necessarily grabbing
grinding.
you can bump up on me, I don't care, but it has to be mutual respect. You know what I mean? That's the bottom line. So I didn't mind her, but I just noticed it progressively through the night became a little bit more. And then she started telling me how beautiful she thought that I was, which again, thank you. I appreciate
it's uncomfortable.
I appreciate that. But she was like,
She had already told me how beautiful you were as well.
she was laying it on thick. And it got to the point where I was like,
Uncomfortable.
it threw my little red flag, my radar. You know what I mean? And that happens. It doesn't matter who you are, what sex you are, how old you are. If you throw my radar, I'm not okay with that. But still, I don't mind it because I've had to deal with it so long. Just because you like me and you're attracted to me, that's not going to automatically make me not like you. I'll still be your friend. We can still be cool.
But respect me.
But you just can't throw the radar. You know what I mean? And so she then finally, I knew it was coming, asked me if her and her husband could take me home. And I believe she even used that. She just went straight out with this. You want to come do me and my husband tonight? And I'm like,
on the first date?
I said, on the first date?
Kelly came back and told me. I was like, what?
I don't think she thought it was funny. I think she laughed. But she was like, I'm being serious, and I'm like, no, I'm being serious. So then I was like, dang. But you were I don't know where you were.
There's no telling at that point.
I was looking around. I was like, oh crap, I need Zeta.
I've lost her.
But I finally located you, and that's when I finally was like.
So she tells me what happens, and at this point, it's kind of towards the end of the wedding, and we're getting ready to go. So I'm trying to get in on my goodbyes because I don't plan to see anyone else the next morning because we're getting up to go to the end of life the celebration of life. So I know I'm not going to be seeing people everybody else is still going to see each other.
Yeah.
Well, everybody else stayed in cabins on the property pretty much. There was about probably 7 of us that stayed, maybe more, I don't know. But there were some of us that stayed at the inn that we stayed in, which is in town like 2 miles away. But most of them rented cabins for the weekend on the property.
Yeah.
Because they had big families with them. And so they had come with a family member and stayed with them, I guess. I didn't really ask, but that's what I gather. And so she comes to me, and I already know what's going on because Kelly's told me what's going on. It's now time for it to be over. And she comes to me and says that her and her husband are having an issue, and she explains the issue, which I'm not going to go into because that's no one's business.
I kind of think it adds to the story. Because she was trying to make she even told me she was trying to make her husband jealous, because when it finally got to the point she got mad at him, because she wasn't mad at him necessarily at the beginning of the evening, but she got mad at him because she thought that he was trying to take the bartenders home. So she was trying to
make
really
him
hard
jealous.
to take me home and to make him jealous, and trying to pull me in the bathroom with her and this and that and the other. And I finally walked by him at one point when I freaking just left out of the bathroom and left the door open, and I'm like, you're not going to try and pull me into a restroom just to try. I don't know what I'm sorry, but no.
Yeah. So basically she lets me, her husband is upset with her and she's upset with him, and she doesn't want to go where he is, and she wants to know if she can stay with us. And I was like, no.
That is just as bad as bringing a boy.
I was like, A, I'm not going back to San Saba tomorrow. I can't give you a ride. I'm going to Austin to something else. B, no. What are you gonna? No,
I wouldn't.
Now she didn't know I knew what happened.
Oh yeah,
But the first thing that popped in my head was, I paid for the room because Kelly is my guest. Like, she didn't need to go to the wedding. You know what I mean? So I got us a room with 2 beds. Am I going to have to sleep next to Kelly and you're going to get my bed? Like, I'm not going to let you sleep next to Kelly.
Right.
I'm not sleeping next to you. So I'm going to sleep next to Kelly, and we're
both going to have a knife in our hands.
Yeah, it's not going to be pretty. And so I was like, you need to contact the person you came with. I'm trying to be politically correct here, but you need to contact the person you came with. And basically you're their problem and they need to take care of this. And they were like, well, my husband's with them. And I was like, well, then you need to contact so-and-so, which is another person that they know well, and let them know what's going on. You need to stay with them. They were like, well, and try to give an excuse. And I was like, the answer is no.
Hard pass.
I'm sorry. It's no. But you have a lovely night, and it was lovely to see you. Goodbye.
And you know what? I had a really good time with her, until she did what she did. And she seemed like she was so nice. And
I think she is nice. I've never had a bad situation with her. I just don't know her that well, and I don't know her husband well. And
tell you, alcohol.
But I have heard things.
Alcohol's a hell
so
of a
I've
drug.
kind of kept my distance because I've heard things, not about her, but just things. And so I just kind of keep my distance. Anyways, it is what it is. They won't be, hanging out at the cabin.
Okay,
not
good.
when we're there.
We're not going to invite her to girls' weekend.
No,
okay?
we're not dealing with that.
Sorry.
No offense. She's lovely, but she needs to be lovely in her own home with her husband. So that was part of it. So we have a great. Other than that, we have a great time at the wedding.
And that was just the only hiccup. I think. I think everything
the food
else
was
went.
delicious. The bride was freaking stunning.
It was
Yes.
chef's kiss.
Yes,
Mwah. It was great.
and the groom during their marriage vows, and this really touched me, and it was silly, but it touched me because I know him and I know he was being genuine, maybe slightly tipsy, but genuine.
A good combination of those two things.
And so as the preacher, which is really just a friend of the family that's ordained and an amazing guy, as Kevin says, to love, honor, cherish, whatever. Any line that, anything that he said for him to repeat, he would ad-lib more to it. He was like, I will love you forever.
Till the day
that we die, and then more.
No matter what.
In death, I'm staying.
Not even if there's a fire.
Nothing. I will cherish you. I will cherish you like you've never understood cherish before. Like, I don't even remember what he said. But I was like, he is expressing his love in front of everybody he knows. And my family is mean as hell to a degree, and they will roast you. Like, I had one cousin, I had on a brown velvet dress with red shoes, and I had one cousin was like, oh, red shoes, interesting choice. I was like, I thought so. Damn.
That's funny.
I was like, noted. I'm going to wear more.
Right? I thought it was a lovely pop of color.
It cracked me up. I was like, damn, she's got some balls.
Choice.
Interesting choice. I was like, okie dokie.
Oh, is that your husband? Interesting choice.
Interesting choice. Anyways, we had a really good time. So the wedding was just like lighthearted fun. Like it was everything I expected, and probably you as well. Was it what you expected?
Oh, I had such a blast.
It might be my
No
favorite
complaints.
wedding.
Five stars.
I mean, it's tied for my favorite wedding. I feel like more people danced and got into it at my other cousin's wedding, but my other cousin's wedding had a mariachi band.
Oh my gosh, I would have definitely.
I was ready to walk down the aisle with them. I loved it so much. Like the mariachi band played the bride song.
That's so amazing.
I cried over the song. Okay, but
I get it.
I wasn't menopausal then, so that was a legit cry.
Yeah, it was. Oh my gosh.
I was like, this is the most beautiful wedding ever. Anyway, so those are my two favorite weddings ever. So that was Saturday. So we get up Sunday morning. And first off, I want to say Lake LBJ in Kingsland, Texas is amazing.
It's legit.
Kelly and I want to go back.
Can't wait.
It's the cutest little town.
Oh
I
my
almost
gosh.
felt like we were like off the coast of like around Seattle. Like it was really weird. It looked like a sound, like you would call it a sound.
It was so sweet.
I don't know how to explain it.
I loved it.
It was
I
cute.
kind of want to live there. And that's why I'm not allowed to go anywhere too far away from where I live in Texas because I don't want to come back. I'm
She
like,
said
oh,
that. I don't know if I want to leave here.
I was like, I might need to stay.
Ever. Yeah.
Where are the single men in this town? No, I'm just kidding.
So this was our event, and so then the next day is Sunday, and so Sunday we get up and we have to be at the memorial thing for my godmother. To tell you, okay, all the hippie first off, let me say this: as we get up and we get on the road, Kelly, one of the first questions she asked me is, "So who that I met last night is going to be there today?" And I was like, "Nobody."
Zero.
They have nothing
Like, great.
to do.
No friends. Cool.
Like I have two different worlds here that I grew up in, and you are meeting both at the same time. But nothing. They have no connection. The only two people that would have been at the wedding that could have possibly gone Sunday would have been my brother, or would have been my mother. And my brother and I had plans to go because Molly actually passed away, my godmother, before my brother. They just put off this service. So she passed away 2 years ago. So when she passed, Zola and I said, we got to go to Molly's thing when it happens.
Aww.
Unfortunately, he didn't make it. So he would have been there with us had he could have been.
Anyway, he was still there with us.
He was definitely. He was brought up quite a bit. So we're on our way, and it's about an hour drive, and we're leaving the hill country, kind of country area on the lake, and driving into Austin, Texas. So we get to Austin, Texas, and they have Zilker Park, which is a very famous park in Texas, and where it's in like a special like a rental place. It's like a little building and everything. Well, so we're supposed to be there at 2, right? 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're supposed to be there at 2. We get to Austin early because what are we going to do all day? So we go.
Drank.
Yeah, we went and had a drink. We debated. As we're having the drink, I have this plan for this tattoo where I plan to put my mom's handwriting of the word jambalaya on my foot because anyone that's listened to this podcast or my other podcast knows that it's a big deal between my mom, my brother, and I. My mom cooked it for us all the time. We loved it. It was our favorite dish. It's my kid's favorite dish that I make. When you make it, you have to sing the Jambalaya song by Hank Sr. My mom always did it. Like, it's just a really close thing. And every time I go to San Saba, as I pull into San Saba, I kid you not, almost every damn time, at some point as I'm pulling in, I'm going to hear Hank singing Jambalaya. It's crazy how often Hank comes on the radio when I pull into San Saba. And Senior, and I'm talking on the radio, because they have an old country station. Anyways, so it's a big deal for us. The weird part is my jambalaya connection has nothing to do with San Saba. It has everything to do with my mother and my brother. My mom got the recipe from one of the hippies that we're about to see on Sunday. She got the recipe from him because half of them or more are from Louisiana, so they're Cajun. And the other half are from San Francisco originally. So we have a weird blend of us. And my mom was one of the few Texans. So she was one of the few that brought the country element to the group. Everybody else was a Cajun or they were from California. So oddly enough, they all meet in Austin, Texas in the 60s and 70s. And my mom's the only actual Texan besides my dad. And so my mom got this recipe from one of them back in the 70s and would make us jambalaya. And if any of you have never had jambalaya and you want the recipe, I will post it. It is so good.
So good.
So good. And anyway, so I wanted to get this tattoo of the word jambalaya with my mom's handwriting on it on my foot from her recipe for my brother and I. And my older kids want to get my handwriting jambalaya on their foot because it's our thing too.
Oh.
So as we get there, Kelly and I are having a drink and we're talking about it. And I'm like, well, we got time to kill. Let's go get this tattoo.
Let's go get a tattoo.
But then we change our mind because I'm wearing boots and it could mess it up if it's on my foot. So we're like, maybe not. So we end up going, then we headed to the Zilker Park to the thing and we get there. And what are they serving and making? Jambalaya.
And it was amazing.
Yes. And the first thing that my godmother's husband said was he saw me and he yelled across like the patio, Zeta Blanche, I got some jambalaya here. I've not seen this man in 30 years, and he knew to offer me jambalaya.
He knew you were going to want that.
That's how impressionable it was in my life with us. And so then we walk up, and immediately we see my godbrother, Otis, who I've seen none of these people within 30 years. My godmother is the only one I had seen in the last 30 years. The rest of them, they were just busy. They were living life, and they didn't live with their mom anymore, so I wouldn't see them. So I've not seen any of these people in a long time. But when I say grew up with them, I mean the very first person I met was my mom when I was born, and then my godmother. She was in the room because my dad was in jail.
Yikes.
So my godmother was her person in the room.
Yeah.
Molly, the one that passed away.
That's so sweet.
And then Molly immediately had someone bring Jolene, her daughter, who's 6 months older than me, to the hospital so I could meet Jolene. So literally, Jolene's like the third person I met. I met Jolene before my dad. I met my brother too. I think my understanding is she grabbed my brother and Jolene and I don't know if she went and got him or she had someone bring him to the hospital. Mm-hmm. So basically, Jolene met me at the same time that Zoll met me. And she was my first friend, and I grew up with her, and we lived that hippie life. So all the hippie stories I tell, she is one of the people in the hippie stories. That was her mother that passed away. Mm-hmm. I have not seen Jolene since we were 16 or 17.
Wow.
So like 1992 probably. Mm-hmm. And I, it's like I didn't expect Sunday to be so emotional because Molly, it's been 2 years since you passed. So I think everybody was pretty much to the point that you're functional about it.
Yeah.
It was every time someone saw me, they'd start crying because I'm the only one that these people haven't seen in 30 something years.
Yeah.
And, but also, so that got me seeing my god siblings, all of them made me cry like a little baby. When I met Jolene's kids, I cried like a little baby. Because that's my first friend ever, and her mom made such an impact on my life, and they do, and so I was just like, it was just really cool. And so if you listen to any kind of like blues music, I talked about Bonnie Raitt and Marcia Ball. Well, Marcia Ball was at the funeral. Mm-hmm. I immediately made her cry.
Way to go, Zeta.
I made her cry. She didn't make me cry.
Way to go.
So we're both in the kitchen hugging and crying. I was like, I am so sorry I made you cry, Marcia Ball. But she was friends with my mom, so we were talking about mom. She did know my mom had passed. She didn't ask a lot of questions, but, she was giving me her sympathies. And we were crying about my mom, not about Molly. And so then I made Marcia cry. I did not make this guy cry or even talk to him, but if you're my age, you might know who he is. But Charlie Saxon and Will Saxon from Archangels are friends of the family. And they were there, and they're married and have kids into the family. Really, it's a long story. That family, the hippie family, mm-hmm. And so they were there, and then Ian Moore is my god sister's husband, and I guess he's considered folk. I don't know what he's considered, but he's a pretty big deal in the music industry as well. And so they were all there, and they all got up and sang, and it was just beautiful. And then all these hippies were there, and they had all this amazing food, and they had all these pictures of Molly, and they had so many pictures of me that I've never seen or knew about.
Yeah.
And like Jolene showed me one picture of her and I would say we were probably 3 in the picture. She was like, where is this? Where is this? And I said, that's my house in San Saba. That's the ranch I lived on in San Saba. That's the front gate. And she was like, San Saba. That's right. San Saba. That's what I thought. Okay. Couldn't remember the name of the town, but I thought it was where you lived out in the country. Because they lived in Austin, and we lived in Austin some of the time, but we also lived in San Saba some of the time. We were all over the place. We were nomads.
Yeah.
They always stayed in Austin. We were the ones that couldn't stay still. My mom was a gypsy. And so it was just really cool to see all the pictures and everything. I did see the picture of the braid lady. That's a story for a different day where I got angry.
Yeah, we'll cover that.
But we had an amazing time. I cried too much. It was very emotionally draining for me. Like I did not realize how draining that was going to be.
Yeah.
And it drained me. And in a good way. But in a bad, like, I was just like, I'm still recovering from it emotionally.
I'm still recovering from the dancing.
Yeah. Kelly just sat down and waited for me at the Celebration of Life. She was like, I'll just be over here.
I'm going to be over here. Just
she slept the whole way back, y'all. So anyway, so that was our weekend. It was wonderful. I really enjoyed it. I was real thankful Kelly was there to enjoy it with me. And so
I had a great time.
yeah. And I did, this is something we didn't discuss because I didn't have any answers yet, but I put on Facebook just right before we started recording. And I said, if we're about to record, if any listeners have any questions they want to ask us.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Give me some questions and let's answer them.
Ooh, that sounds scary.
Do you want to do
but I
that
love it.
now or do you want to wait till we get down further?
Well, we can just use that as the Facebook thing.
Okay. So, okay. We'll go back to that another time.
Yeah.
Okay. So, we got a few questions and I just read the questions. So like these are new questions. Okay.
Love it.
Okay. Let me see. So the first one is, how do you stay so self-confident?
It is constant telling myself that, I'm the shit, basically. I'm just kidding. But really, that's what you have to do. It's not, I know a lot of people say the fake it until you make it. So even whenever you're not feeling confident, just act confident or whatever.
Yeah.
And I understand that if that's what you need to do it. But it really is that helps to make you believe that you're enough. That you're always good enough. You rolled out of bed good enough. You're good enough.
Right.
And so whatever you've done to make yourself feel better, whether that is the way you present yourself, how you get ready, what you wear for that day, like whatever makes you feel good. And that's
Right.
what I do. I spend time on the things that make me feel good. So self-care and like knowing that I smell good and knowing that, doing things fun with my hair.
To make
Like,
you feel
I went and
good.
got my hair cut and I really like it because I can style it all cute. Like every little thing kind of helps a little bit.
Yeah.
And so,
And I think that,
and then also having awesome friends.
I think that makes a difference. It
People that
does.
having cheerleaders, man, get some cheerleaders in your section.
Yeah.
And if you don't have any cheerleaders, the best way to do that is to become one, and then people will start cheering you as well. If you're
Yeah.
building up your friends, if you're building up the people around you, lead
That's
by example. You'll start getting some cheerleaders.
So accurate because it's like you're teaching other people how to treat you.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think it's a little different. Like I think my self-esteem over the years, this is the way that I see it. And the way I see it might change because as you get older, you reflect. But
lot.
I had a lot of self-confidence in high school. I was, I felt pretty confident with myself. I mean, I was not confident younger because I was so much taller than everybody. I had to kind of overcome that stigma that was in my head about it. And then, you have to think of my era. I graduated high school in 93 in the middle of the whole waif look, the heroin chic, they called it, where you need to look
Which
like.
apparently that's coming back into fashion.
Yeah. They want you to look like you might die any minute of a drug overdose.
You're
or an eating
definitely
disorder.
not going to make it through like a Texas ice Mageddon. Like
No.
you miss a couple of meals and you can't get to the store, you're a goner.
Yeah.
You're a goner.
And that was really, really, really popular when I was in my late teens, early 20s. And I couldn't compete with that. And I'm going to tell you right now that I look back at my body I had then, I had a banging body.
Like what the heck was I thinking?
I was banging.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad I didn't know how good I looked because I would have been so bad.
Oh, it was just, but I didn't know it because I'd been torn down by
I
media
know.
and that was before social media.
I
It
feel
was
you.
just everywhere you went was Kate Moss and, anyone that looked like they were currently high. And that's just not what I was very voluptuous and I wasn't overweight. I was just, but like an hourglass.
You were a
And
stallion.
What was crazy is I modeled at the time, but I would go in to do modeling jobs and the only thing I could get were like car shows, bathing suit things. It's like if you looked really good in a bathing suit, they didn't want to see you in anything
they don't
unless
wanna-
you were
yeah.
leaning against a car.
Yep.
So that's what I did. I did car shows and whatever. It was just extra cash, easy money. But I had no self-esteem at the time because that's not what was popular. And now I look back and I'm like, oh my God, I would literally kill for that body. And so then I had children and I gained weight as you tend to do whenever you have children. And so whenever that happened, everything that you think that you know about yourself and your body and whatever the case is gone. Like you have a new body and you have to figure it out. And your body's doing weird things that it's never done before. And your hormones are out of control. And you don't know how to dress anymore because now you're a mom and you're a wife or, whatever. And, you need to dress the part, you have a professional job or whatever the case is. So then I didn't know how to dress how to dress appropriately. I don't know how else to put it. I did not know how to dress my body for a minute there. And so I would wear, and I was broke as hell. So like whatever I could get my hands on type thing. And I was busy as hell. So I didn't have a lot of time for look for things. Well, that kills your self-esteem. When you can't find clothes you like, it kills your self-esteem. And you can't dress like you dressed when you were in high school because your body's changed. But also, you're older. It's time to, you got to figure it out.
You got to evolve a little bit.
Yeah. And my ex-husband, which I've said this, if you've listened to the podcast, you've heard me. He was very, very judgmental of other people. He was always like that little whisper in the back of my ear, how nobody else was that great and how everything, so he would pick apart everybody, which made me mentally pick myself apart.
Yeah.
I
was
was
do it without even thinking.
He wasn't
thinking
doing it
about
to
what
me.
he was thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. He never ever was the least bit. I was perfect as far as he verbally announced to me and treated me like that. But at the same time, I'm getting what he's saying about other people.
Yeah.
And it got to the point I wouldn't let him around my friends, and I wouldn't go around my friends because I didn't want to hear him talk shit about my friends. You know what I mean? And so I just it didn't feel real good about myself. And then I started realizing that the precedent I was setting for my children was not good because I had no self-esteem. I no longer felt pretty. I was run down. I didn't know my body. I didn't understand my body. You know what I mean? And so I had to make a conscious effort to change that. And I did. I made a conscious effort to change that. And in that change, it meant I needed to lose my husband. I was never going to have self-esteem with him in the picture. And now from there on out, I don't ever look at a picture and compare myself to the person next to me. And I don't look at other people's pictures and compare myself to them. I just need to be the best version of me that I'm comfortable with.
Yep.
And if I'm bigger than I want to be or I'm smaller than I want to be, I just try to work with what I have the best I can. And I try to make sure my clothes fit me for my body. It doesn't have to matter what's in fashion. It doesn't have to matter what other people are going to like. It's what I like. And it doesn't always make everybody happy.
Nope.
But
sometimes it's, the red shoes.
It's the red shoes. It's the red shoes.
It's the whatever the heck shoes you want it to be.
I'm going to do whatever I want to do. But I mean, the only way I can say that I built my self-confidence was getting rid of the people around me that were telling me what was negative. Mm-hmm. And I always try to filter everything through how do I want my girls to feel. If they see their mom very concerned about her weight, and they see their mom concerned about her looks, and they see her mom, like they see me want to look pretty and to, fix myself up, but they don't ever hear me talk about a diet. And they don't ever hear me talk about my body negatively. And when I say I'm thick, I say it with pride because that's the body I got, And I try to, and me filtering what I say in front of my daughters has taught me to understand. I believe myself when I say it. It's not
you
fake.
should filter yourself for yourself,
if that makes sense. Yeah. Yes, you should. Yeah. And okay, so that was.
I'm always telling myself to be nicer.
That's my self-confidence. I could go on for a whole episode on that because it's been a challenge, but I like myself.
And that's step one. Is you got to like yourself.
You do. The next one was, are you two guys going on the road to podcast from somewhere else, maybe up north of Dallas, somewhere else? So I guess she means like if we could record somewhere else. The issue with that is that you have to have equipment.
Yeah.
And I know there are some people that can do like the on the road thing and do, whatever the case is. But Al just lets us use his equipment. So we're not moving it anywhere.
Yeah.
And so unfortunately, we're not even tech savvy enough to do it if we had
absolutely
it.
Not. I've thought about just getting a recording device and recording us to see the quality.
Yeah.
And just to see if it is usable. So that is something that
Well,
is
see,
a
I thought about
possibility.
at the cabin doing little like interviews at the cabin to the side.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we'll try to do that.
We'll see if we can get it to where it sounds good.
Yeah. The other one was, do you ever have plans to do a meet and greet? And I don't know that we've technically talked about it, but we have said before we might do some kind of
I've never even thought about that
thing at some point. We don't know.
I don't
yet.
think that we have ever talked about that.
I thought we did before we even recorded.
No, I don't think we ever.
What do you feel about
Because
that?
reading that, or just as you were reading that, I was like, oh, what a great idea. Like that's a great idea. I don't always have the best, like, obvious ideas, but that's like a really good idea.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing
So maybe
something
people
like that.
gave us feedback on how that should look. Then we could kind of play
It'd
with
be
that
just
idea.
a very casual thing, like, hey,
Meet up at Al's or something.
any kind of central location that
Yeah, maybe Dallas, because a lot of our listeners are from
I think that
Dallas.
would be cool. Just
Yeah. The other one was, do you believe in prayer? Which I believe in prayer.
I do as well. I believe, and this is interesting. I just had a conversation like this with Mary Lee the other day because she was trying really hard to get somewhere on time, and she was actually like where she would be on time, and then she left and her car got stuck in the mud because of all the rain, and so she ended up not on time. And her daughter told her that she just felt like the universe was out to get her mom because it doesn't matter, it's one thing or the other,
Yeah.
Which reminds me of that pillow at the thing that the pillow at the celebration of life I loved, they had set out that said, if it's not one thing, it's your mother.
Yes.
But really, and I told Marilee, I said, it's very easy to start feeling that way because things do happen. My life can be a series of unfortunate events. And I think that's true for so many people, but it really comes down to what you're putting out, like what you're putting out into the universe, what you're putting out in prayer, what you're putting out in spirituality, what you're putting out as an energy. If it's negative, that's what you're cultivating. That's what you're putting out. So you're going to be more surrounded with that. If you're speaking evil or anything negative out, it's putting evil that close to your body. Right. So of course you're going to have bad things happening all around you. Right. But it's a natural negative, or it's a natural reaction to negativity to think negative. If I drop something on the ground, most people damn it. And I'm like, why would you want to be damning things all around you? And then
you're going to pick it back up
and then complain about, and now you've just picked up this damn thing. Now you have this weight on you. You are cultivating all of that, and you're not even thinking about it because it's just so ingrained into you that that's what happens.
Yeah.
We curse things. And if you do that, just think about that. You really want to be cursing everything around you and be in that environment that you've just created? No. So from a very young age, I would bless things that I dropped. That's like my way of blessing things, because I drop everything. I do not have my hand-eye coordination. It's good. I can shoot things, but like if it's valuable, do not let me hold it, because I'm going to drop it on the floor. I'm going to break it in some way.
My dropping situation lately, I've dropped a number of things.
But I've always started correcting myself and blessing things. If I drop something on the ground, I'm like, oh, bless you. I consider that my blessing to things if I dropped it on the ground.
Right.
And if you bring that kind of head thinking into everything around you, if something negative happens, if you correct, even if it's already a negative reaction, you're allowed to correct yourself. Yeah. So correct it. Don't damn things, bless them, or speak better, or pray, ask for what you need. Yeah. That there is a power in that. People don't want to grasp, and it's like, I don't know why you're cutting off your own hands, not asking for the things that you need and being grateful for the things that you need, and just blessing things and not damning them. If you would just start, you would see such a difference, an automatic change, because it's like turning on a light switch. If you walk into a room and it's dark, all you have to do is turn on the light and you have freaking light.
Well, I saw a TikTok where a girl said that she wakes up every day and tells herself that she has amazing luck and she's going to have a great day.
You better believe it.
And so all these people started doing it. They're like, it really has changed my attitude. Like, that's what's giving me the good luck, is I have a better attitude.
You better believe it.
And I do believe that makes a difference. Now, on the aspect of prayer, I do believe in prayer, and I do pray. And Rick's a big prayer as well. And but I don't believe in praying like that your sports team wins. I don't believe in wasted prayers. Like, I feel like it needs to be focused on something truly important. That's just my personal opinion. I also don't believe that my prayer is any more important than any one of another religion's prayer.
Nope.
I feel like to each their own on their religion.
We are the only ones that put a weight on any of that.
Yeah.
None of that matters. The sections, it matters less than the type of shoe that you buy. It's a shoe. Prayer is prayer. It doesn't matter if it's going towards it's going.
And where they prayer. Are spiritually, where I am spiritually can be two different things. Now, my one hang up that might fall into this category is I am, and anyone that knows me knows this, I'm pretty vocal about it, is people that are representing a church and they're very ugly to people. So if you're an ugly person and you have ugly thoughts and you think ugly things about other people and you behave that way and you feel comfortable enough in saying those things, I am the girl that's going to be, do you feel real Christ-like right now?
Right.
Do you feel like you're representing your pastor? Do you feel like you're representing your church? And the reason I say that, and the reason it's such a hot button with me, is it has been used against me my entire life. Because I have had people within the church my entire life that have said things to me very hurtful, and it's kept me out of their churches. And so I'm really conscious of that, and I do call people out because I know what it did to me. But I definitely believe in prayer, and I believe in spirituality, and I believe in all that, and I believe, but I do believe it needs to be, you need to be careful. You need to be careful what you put out in the world. Just like you said about, blessing things, you need to be careful how you represent your church, how you
really
represent
do.
your religion, how you represent your pastor or whoever your religious leader is, because it is a direct reflection of your God and of your church. And so that's how I feel about that. And then
on that note,
and then that was really all the questions I had. But I did have Heather Vaughn say, "Keep up the good work. I really enjoy listening to y'all, and I love the stories."
Aww.
Oh wait, there might be one more.
Let me. When people leave feedback.
I don't have a question, but I want to. I can't wait to listen. As a stay-at-home mom, special needs mom, I have 2 that are nonverbal autistic. Which anyone that listens know, I have 2 autistic kids, but mine are verbal. I love to stick my earbuds in and listen. I can forget my worries and struggles and just laugh. So fun. Great job, ladies. So thank you so much, Chris. And she's pretty active on my Facebook. I know exactly who Chris is. So that's pretty cool. So thanks for the questions. Good questions. If y'all want to ask more questions and you hear this, you hear it and you didn't see it on my Facebook. And if you want to, I do talk to listeners on Facebook. So if you want to find me on Facebook, I'm Zada Owens, Zada Owens, and I'm ZMamaCita on Instagram. And Kelly is?
I'm Kelly Lady Pearl on Instagram. That's all I have. But if you want to contact us through email, you can email our podcast at twosidesandthetruthpodcast@outlook.com.
Good job, because I couldn't remember.
And we have a new 5-star review I wanted to read out really quick. It's very sweet. It's from Michaela Petrasco, and she says, love you both. Love this show. You guys are awesome. I'm a new listener, and I look forward every week to hear you guys. Zada, I love you and your energy. I'm a stay-at-home mom to 4 awesome kids, and you guys make my day when I go on my daily walk. This is my go-to podcast. Please keep up the good work. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And another really, really important thing is, guess what? I finally got, or we finally got.
What did we finally
We got our 3-star review that I asked for. Somebody was listening. 3 is my favorite number, so I got it.
When I
we
saw
also
it,
got
I
a
laughed.
2. We also got a 2. So maybe they were like a star for you and a star for me.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe they were like, they're number 1, both of them.
So that makes number 2.
Yeah.
I'll take it. I'll take all of them.
I like it. It would be probably a little more helpful if they were to message us or to leave a review that was negative and be like, hey, this is what you need to work on. Because otherwise it's just kind of I don't know what you don't like. How am I?
It's okay.
But I'm not for everybody. Kelly's not for everybody. We're not for everybody. I totally get where some people would, this is not their cup of tea.
Oh, yeah.
This is not Rick's cup of tea, first off.
Yeah.
My aunt said, so what do y'all talk about in your Facebook? I mean, on your podcast, I tell her. She goes, well, I'm not going to listen, but
That's okay.
that's cool, though. I get why we're not her cup of tea for that. And that's cool. Why does she need to hear all her niece's stories? Fine. So totally cool if we're not someone's cup of tea. And I find it just kind of funny.
We also had, both me and you received an Instagram message, I believe, because she said, hold on, who is it from? Christy Wheeler Jones said, listening to the last podcast and love you. You said, you never stop learning a person, comment. And after 15 years of marriage, I'm actually learning my husband. Didn't have the words for it, but that's exactly what we are doing. And I thought that was very sweet. That's just one of the things
I did too.
You don't. You never stop learning a person. If you're really wanting to grow in the relationship and you're still in it, and it, didn't just okay, we can't do this and give up, which I understand. But if you got to learn a person because nobody stops growing.
Well, and you're changing too. You kind of got to learn yourself.
You got to
Goes both
evolve
ways.
together. So thank you so much. That was awesome.
And our last part of this little thing is last night I had a phone call with a listener because a girl that I grew up with and love, a friend of mine, Jen, she texted me last night and she was like, hey, my sister wants to talk to you. And I was like, okay. She was like, no, she's a big fan of the podcast. She listens to both of them and she really likes to listen and she just really wants to talk to you. I was like, okay, well, I'm doing dishes, but I mean, all right.
Tell me.
And she was like, okay, I just need a minute of your time, 2 minutes. I said, okay, no problem. Call me whenever you can. So she calls me, and they had me on speakerphone, and I talked to them, and I, honestly, we just chit chatted about what I did for the weekend. They got a mini podcast, but she really just wanted to convey how much she enjoyed the podcast and particularly this podcast.
That's awesome.
Because she was like, y'all get in it. She was like, I like listening to y'all get in it. And so I really hope that everybody else takes that away, because that is the goal, is that
really
we get
is.
in it. And we're not always right. Like, this is just us chit chatting. This is just girl talk.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we could be giving the worst advice ever, y'all. But it's based on what has worked for us.
You have no
or what
idea
we've
what the
learned.
truth is.
We figure you're learning from our mistakes.
Yeah, that's really what we're coming in here.
Yeah, and but I really appreciate that. I really thought it was really cool to have that little phone conversation. And now this upcoming weekend is our first official Winter Girls weekend, because we had to cancel the last one because everybody and their dog got sick. So this one,
Nobody better get sick. Zeta, if you get sick,
I'm gonna tell you,
between now
my
and
coworker
Friday
was sick last weekend, and I was like, I swear to God, if I come, I will. We're gonna have problems. She was like, I'm better now. I was like, I don't know that. So I was like, stay over there.
Are we gonna leave Friday or
Yes,
Saturday?
Friday.
Friday night.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're leaving Friday night. And
I'm
so,
off on Friday. I've also just learned that I'm off on Monday too, because it's like President's Day. So
I
I'm
didn't
off.
even know
I was
that.
like, I'm so happy because I know I'm gonna need a day to recover.
You are. Yeah. No, we're going to leave after work then. And it's going to be the first Cold Girls weekend. We went one other time this time of year, but it wasn't really cold. Like, I don't think we got in the water. It just wasn't cold.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to be cold.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking outdoor fires.
It's gonna be the best.
Marshmallows.
I like the comment that was like, we're gonna straight be Lord of the Flies in it.
Yeah. With the group text.
With the torch in and running around the woods.
Literally, Mary was like, I can just picture us with tiki torches just running around in the woods. I was
We're
like,
going hunting.
I was like, I don't think we're trying to start a fire, but I mean, but yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. So y'all get ready for some pictures.
Oh man.
And so we may have someone there taking pictures.
I might have some available to buy.
Yeah. They were like, bring something. Come dressed as badasses, I believe is the way it was.
Yeah.
So we all have a different version of badass. So y'all get ready.
I'm definitely doing some boudoir pictures. So
Oh, there we go. There we go. Definitely something people need to tune into. I'm going to have all my clothes on. Yeah, I'm going to.
I'll still have some.
And that's pretty much it for the day. What, you got anything else? What else
that's
we
it.
got? All right. So next week I'll get the update on our girls' weekend, and then next week we're going to talk about this new Facebook page that has popped up locally.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little controversial.
Sure is. I can't wait.
It's pretty freaking funny.
I'm thinking I might even need to start a Facebook just so I can
so you
go
can
and
follow it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, y'all get ready. And and I'm just going to leave a teaser. I'm not going to tell you anything else about it. But the name of the Facebook, and it's private, and it's only for women. Men cannot join it, is. And y'all can go ahead and start perusing it so you'll be prepared for this. But it is, Are We Dating the Same Person? Ellis County Edition.
Bum, bum, bum.
So if you want to check that out, you gotta. It's private. It's private, so you've got to join it, and you have to be a woman. Let me know what you think. 'Cause, and apparently, other cities do this.
I love it. I can't. Oh my gosh.
But I have been cracking up. So stay tuned. We will talk about it on the next episode. And until then,
Remember, there are always 3 sides to every story. 2 sides and the truth. Love you guys.
bye, y'all.